Many of us look for a role model to follow the example of someone great as we strive to be like them. Lia Mills has played an instrumental role in shaping me to be a pro-life individual I am today. Lia's strong dedication to the protection of all life is always motivating to anybody who knows her story. Oftentimes, we may feel as if we are too young to make much of a difference. However, when we ask Christ to empower us and allow us to be temples of the Holy Spirit, amazing things happen. Lia Mills is a 9th grade student from Toronto, Ontario. As part of a school assignment for the 7th grade and for entry into a related speech competition, she chose to write a speech on the topic of abortion. Although she was strongly encouraged not to pursue the topic, and though she was threatened with disqualification on a number of occasions, she pressed on and continued with the topic of abortion. Since then, Lia has worked on several other YouTube videos with the goal of helping educate people on the issue of abortion. Her videos have been seen by hundreds of thousands around the world and translated into many languages. Her videos have also been noted to be the breaking point in converting many of my personal friends pro-life. People who were contemplating abortion also saw her videos and changed their mind, deciding to give life. Lia is a proud recipient of the Susan B. Anthony Young Leaders Award and the Toronto Right to Life Media Award. Lia has had the honor of speaking before a crowd of 12,000 people on Parliament Hill in Ottawa, Ontario. I present to you the official spokesperson of Teen Defenders, Lia Mills.
I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. It was almost 50 years ago, not too far from here, that Martin Luther King Jr. spoke these history-making and unforgettable words. He called together thousands upon thousands of people to march for freedom, and there he proclaimed that all men and women, black and white, were created equal. Today, we too have gathered. Today, we too will march. And today, we too will proclaim that all men and women, black and white, born and unborn, are created equal. Like Martin Luther King Jr., we have a dream. We have a dream that our countries will remember the rights of its smallest citizens, and that this horrible genocide, innocuously labeled abortion, will come to an end. We have a dream that one day abortion will be unthinkable, and that our society will reflect a culture of life. I can't say that I understand all that Martin Luther King Jr. understood, but I am beginning to realize this one thing that his life represented. That some things will only change as we become willing to stand in opposition to the status quo. As we become willing to see beyond our need for peace and safety and learn to step out of the boat and start making some waves. Once we all grasp that concept and begin to step out, we too can make our generation go down in history as the generation that caused a turning point in our nations. A generation whose actions led to the ending of abortion in our countries. I understand that this is a big calling. Learning to be a wave maker is not easy. Many of us spend our lives trying to make people happy and not ruffle any feathers. Early on, we learn to do what we're told, and when we don't, we're labeled as being rebellious. I'm all for being respectful and obedient, but when justice is being withheld in this country from over 1 million children every year, that is no time to keep silent. Martin Luther King Jr. was a rebel, then I say, let's all be rebels like him, because we have a dream. I want to get really practical here. Sometimes it's easy to get all stirred up and want to make a difference, but when the excitement passes, we just don't know how we're going to do it. How can we start to change a society that seems to be swiftly moving towards death and destruction and help bring about a culture of life? Well, I don't know all the ways we can do it, but I do know that a society is made up of lots of individual people. You're one of them, and so am I. So one way we can start bringing reformation to our society is start by reforming ourselves. It's easy to point fingers at those who support abortion or those who choose abortion over life for their unborn, but we need to recognize that we're all responsible. We've created a society where human life is not valued, where irresponsibility is normal, and where quick fixes are what everyone expects. We need to recognize that by our own actions, we've all contributed in some way to the ailing culture around us. I doubt you need evidence about our society's decline, but just take a moment to consider this. According to a U.S. news article, in 1940, the top teenage problems were talking in class, chewing gum, acting rude, running in the halls, and not following the dress code. In 1999, however, the top teenage problems were drugs, alcohol, pregnancy, suicide, and rape. How did we get from running in the halls to suicide, or acting rude to pregnancy? You see, as a society, our morals and what we view as ethically right or okay have changed drastically because we've lost our foundation of moral absolutes. We no longer have right or wrong, but only what I feel is right or wrong, which may be different from what you feel is right or wrong, and it's all okay. So, sleeping around isn't wrong. It's normal sexual activity. And aborting the pregnancies that result is also not wrong. It's expected, especially if we're not ready to have children. So as a result, there have been over 52 million abortions in the U.S. since 1973. That's more than 8 times the number of deaths that occurred during the Holocaust. Our society is able to justify it all because our value system has changed. No longer are we informed by the concrete principles of God's Word. So all that we have left is the shifting sand of public opinion. Many of you are Christians, and perhaps you're wondering, where do Christians fit into all of this? Many times Christians shake their heads at society's declining moral state. But really, if Christians were living as Christians, society would be preserved. Instead, many Christians have lost their saltiness and are just as confused about their morals as everyone else. Think about these statistics. According to Josh McDowell's book, The Last Christian Generation, 93% of non-Christians have lied to a parent. What's the stat for Christians? 93%. 76% of non-Christians have cheated on a test. Christians? 74%. What about the abortion rate? Well, some studies have found that non-Christians and Christians are having an equal amount of abortions. I don't say this to be condemning. I'm as guilty as anyone else. My point is, we can't expect our society to change unless we are willing to first change ourselves. How can we help our society if we're as morally ambiguous as they are? The truth is we can't. First we change ourselves, and then we can change the world. Amen. So the first way we can make an impact in our society is getting our morals back in line with biblical values and principles. Yes. When it comes to morality, there is absolute truth. We need to know the truth, walk in the truth, and have the truth set us free. The second way we can make an impact is by praying and getting involved. At this point, just let me take a minute to share part of my story. Many of you may know that I delivered a speech in grade 7 on the topic of abortion. The speech was posted on YouTube and it ended up going viral around the world. You may also know that I've gone on to do a series of other videos on specific aspects of the topic of abortion. But what you may not know is how it all started, because it really is quite amazing how I got from where I was 2 years ago to standing before you here today. Before I even knew I had to write a speech in grade 7, I had been praying. I'd been asking God to help me love what He loves and to help my heart ache for what His heart aches for. When the opportunity arose for me to do a speech in grade 7, I felt God encouraging me to do the topic of abortion. I understand now that that was actually a direct result of my prayer. He was teaching me to care about the unborn as He cares about them. Once I made the simple choice to respond to His prompting and do my speech on abortion, I had to face a lot of opposition. Posting the speech on YouTube brought even more opposition. After that, God gave me other opportunities to follow Him. I had to make sacrifices, and I still do. But with each sacrifice, and with each choice to get more involved, I found myself slowly being drawn closer and closer to understanding God's heart for the unborn. As that happened, I found myself feeling a passion that wasn't there before. A passion to see abortion come to an end. My journey has been incredible, certainly beyond anything I could have ever imagined. But it all started with a simple prayer. We can all do that. After prayer came involvement. We can all do that. And the prayer and involvement created a passion. I'm sure you all know this, otherwise you wouldn't be here today. But we can't just expect to wake up and suddenly be excited about pro-life issues and causes. Our hearts will follow our actions, and what we spend our time, money, and energy on will lead our passions. Evil thrives when good people do nothing. And just like evil takes over one step at a time, so does good. All it takes is one choice to take responsibility for our actions. One sacrifice to give half a day of our time. One decision to speak the truth in love, even if we'll be mocked. We've already made the decision to be here today. By doing so, we've already proven that we can make a difference. Together, we can change our society. Together, we can see an end to abortion. And together, we can make our dream a reality. Martin Luther King Jr. was asked, "When will you be satisfied?" As we pursue our dream, people may ask that of us too. When they do, let's respond as he did. We can never be satisfied as long as the unborn are victims of unspeakable horrors. And we can never be satisfied as long as women are being fed the lie that abortion is an option that provides freedom. Indeed, we will never be satisfied until justice rolls down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream. Because we have a dream. Thank you.
Amen.